A year ago, we were hit with a virus that was met with silence and spread unchecked. Denials for days, weeks, then months. That led to more deaths, more infections, more stress, and more loneliness. 2 months ago, this country didn't have nearly enough vaccine supply to vaccinate all or ever near all of the American public. But soon we will. We've been working with vaccine manufacturers, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, to manufacture and purchase hundreds of millions of doses of these 3 safe, effective vaccines. Now, because of all the work we've done, we'll have enough vaccine supply for all adults in America by the end of May.
So all the work we have done. Admiral Brett Giroir served on Operation Warp Speed. His reaction in a moment, but we begin today with former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Sir, good morning to you and welcome to our broadcast.
Good morning, Bill. Great to be with you.
What did you hear last night?
Well, you know, obviously we saw Joe Biden trying not only to take credit from Donald Trump, which is really interesting because Joe Biden actually got the vaccine. He got a shot in the arm before Donald Trump left office. And so when we look at what was created, the Trump administration worked with warp speed, creating not only a vaccine, but vaccines for millions of people in less than 9 months. And to have this kind of divisive talk coming from President Joe Biden was extremely disappointing.
We had a gracious comment from Andy Slavitt yesterday here in this program, White House senior advisor on COVID. You know, he gave you guys some props here and did it live on TV. None of that happened last night. Let me move to the border. It's a big topic and a big issue for a lot of Republicans, but apparently not so much for Speaker Pelosi. She said this yesterday.
Is it a mistake for House Democrats to not include immigration elements earlier in the agenda? I'm just trying to square how these two parties are talking about such different things as the key issue right now.
Well, I guess their Dr. Seuss approach didn't work for them, so now they've had to change the subject.
What do you make of that, Dr. Seuss, in the headlines?
Well, you know, it was interesting. It was the White House, actually, Jen, talking about the reason why we have a crisis at the border was because of 2 hurricanes last fall. I mean, come on, you can't look at this and look at the policies of Joe Biden and not recognize that he's created a crisis at the border. Over 100,000 people have been apprehended just in his first 50 days, which is more than what we saw the entire last year in terms of apprehensions. Over 11,000 people have been let loose that have come across our southern border into the United States. Not only do we have a crisis, but we have a new philosophy out of Joe Biden. It's the welcome wagon. They're saying, come on in, and it is creating an unbelievable, not only crisis, but an unbelievable event that we have to address. And for Pelosi to look at it this way, I guess it is her Dr. Seuss moment.
321 kids a day on the border crossing now.
Right.
How do you explain that?
Well, it's not just the kids, Bill. It's not just the kids that are coming across. It's the drug cartels. It's the human trafficking that takes place. It is unbelievably the criminal cartel that this administration is looking the other way. And Democrats in Washington, D.C., here on Capitol Hill are doing the same thing. They're acting like it doesn't matter. If it was President Trump there, they would be down there talking about the conditions on the border. They would be looking at the fact that we're not actually quarantining these individuals coming across. You know, it's interesting. The people that have come across the southern border have more freedoms than many Americans under the Joe Biden pandemic policy.
Well, last point here. This White House seems fearless from afar. Fearless because they're not getting called on a lot of this stuff. You take Peter Doocy out of that briefing room, and it's pancake.
Well, listen, Peter Doocy's doing a great job. I know a lot of those White House correspondents. We actually got to deal with them in a very different manner when it was President Trump. It's time that they do their job, but I guess part of the problem is that we have to keep circling back with the White House spokesperson to figure out exactly what they mean and what they say. The other thing that's interesting, last night in this speech, we really didn't hear anything about how we're going to put school kids back in the classroom and really what we can look forward to. Most of what he talked about were Donald Trump's accomplishment, so hopefully we'll hear that in the coming days from the White House.
Thank you, sir, for your time. Interesting comments there. Mark Meadows with the reaction this morning and his hot take. Thank you, sir.